Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Gail Bliss, and I'd like to introduce Victor Toniolo, running for Alder District 12. As we begin, I'd like you to give us an opening statement as to your educational, vocational, and civic experience, which you feel qualifies you for this office and why you are running for Alder.
Thanks, Gail. Good morning. My name is Victor Toniolo. I've worked in Madison for 19 years, 15 years in the biotech industry, 11 years in the service industry at various restaurants, and 7 years in real estate now. First and foremost, I wish to serve Madison so that I can answer any and all questions from my constituents. I've lived in Madison my entire adult life, and I've always received thorough responses from my alders when I've reached out to them. I've heard many complaints from other Madisonians, though, that their alders are often unresponsive. I consider myself already a resource for coworkers, friends, and the community, and have increased my civic engagement over the years in Madison. I'm very familiar with city ordinances and regulations, the city websites, and a variety of departments that I've had to interact with. I've read every proposed city budget since 2015 and followed the amendment and approval process in most years. I wish to serve in District 12 specifically because I see the most exciting changes in Madison happening here. I'm excited about the public market project moving forward, the incoming BRT routes, the possibility of an intercity Amtrak station, and of course, larger, higher density developments. I also want to continue to work at state and federal levels to reduce the impact of PFAS and airport noise on our citizens.
Question 1. What actions or programs would you support to enhance public safety in Madison? And particularly, what is your position on the use of body cameras by Madison police officers?
I would expand the CARES program to reduce the need for police response in many cases. CARES reaches out to mental health emergencies and other areas where police were formally called to the scene. I believe defund the police actually means reassign police duties. Things like parking enforcement the city of Madison is already doing that don't require a person with a gun to show up every time. I am in favor of police-worn body cameras because I do believe they improve police accountability and trust in the neighborhood, and I think they go a long way to Madison's already good community outreach and trust-building programs.
What do you see as the most important environmental issues the city needs to address, and how would you do so?
The city is doing a very good job at going green. I'm excited that we have all electric buses coming in for the BRT program, and I hope we can keep our fleet all electric and moving there for the rest of the city buses. I believe the MG&E does a very good job of offering alternative energy sources. I know right now we are mostly coal-fired, but we need to get credits to use more wind and solar power. One of the biggest environmental issues that I have is contamination at the wells, because District 12 does have the airport. I would fight very strongly to remove the firefighting foam that causes the PFAS, PFOS contamination. And being a biochemist, I'm on the cutting edge of the research to help eliminate and mitigate these contaminants in our drinking water.
What is your position on increasing the pay of alders?
I am strongly against increasing the pay of alders. I believe an alder is a public servant, and I really wish it could be a volunteer position, but I understand that nobody has time to do this job for free, and I understand that it's a very difficult job. I believe the current alder salary is around $15,000 per year. The amendment to increase it to around $20,000 was rejected in the most recent budget process, and the voters spoke loudly and clearly to not increasing alder pay and reducing the number of alders to make more work for each of us. In addition to that, I plan to donate at least $1,000 from my salary to a nonprofit organization in District 12 of my constituents' choosing, because again, I am here to give back to my community, not to profit from it.
What, if anything, do you think the city should be doing to support economic development?
The city can support economic development by growing the city. We need to we are increasing our population, and we need to provide housing first and foremost for them. Housing is by far my biggest issue, and I am pro-development. I want the city to work with developers in public-private partnerships. I want the city to provide city-run housing, to insist that when we give developers money, that we do so responsibly and make sure that they are benefiting not only just low-income residents, but I would propose that any city grants given to low-income developments must include at least 10% of units available to the lowest earners, less than 30% of median income, because those are the most vulnerable among our population. Similarly, I'm very happy to see some of the public housing developments moving forward. The Triangle is going to be a lot bigger. For those of you that are not familiar, over on West Washington is going to have a lot of public housing. I see opportunities for the city to build publicly run housing in partnership with developers. There's been a couple of cases now where the city has given up a city-run parking garage for a private developer to put a development on top of that. And that's a great public-private partnership that benefits everyone. We could improve it even more by having a developer, propose city-run affordable housing in a few of those units, or a few floors actually is what I would propose, so that the developer could make their money, the city would have their garage, but there would also be a public housing element.
How do you see racial disparities impacting constituents in your district? And are there any actions the city should take to address those?
This is a very difficult question. Madison is a very progressive city, and we've made many efforts over the years to decrease racial disparities, but they do persist. My biggest position would be to improve public education in Madison. I am generally against voucher programs, and I think that we need to improve Madison's Metropolitan School District's public school system so we can eliminate these systemic generational disparities. I would work with a variety of nonprofits. I'm not, what is the biggest one now? I'm sorry, I'm scrolling in my notes here. I would work with a variety of local nonprofits to provide resources to those underserved communities, because Madison has a long history and a great number of outside of the city services that provide help to those underprivileged folks.
And what are the most critical issues that you see facing the people in your district, and what would you propose to address these?
So I'm going to go back to economic development briefly, because I see District 12 as the most developing district. In addition to increasing housing, I'm very happy that the city is increasing public transit options. The transit-oriented development overlay district is a great idea that will greatly benefit District 12. I will push for BRT routes in the future to run north-south so that District 12 will be even better served. I also think the public market is an excellent idea that is long awaited. We need to decrease the delays with the market so that we can get that business incubator and get new small business owners in, because that will rejuvenate the entire area, get the corridor going up to the north side. And along the lines of public transportation, I am all about the Amtrak station going at the Oscar Mayer site. I really think that that is the best way to access federal funding to clean up the site first and foremost, and then to have the extra space there to have a thriving area where new construction can be built and new businesses would open.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
Madison is my life. I am very invested in this city, both personally, professionally. I have real estate that I don't ever plan on selling. I mean, I will give that to my kids or my nieces and nephews at some point. And so I'm in this for the long haul. I am very familiar with many of my opponents, actually. I talk with them regularly, and I don't think Madison will be underserved no matter who wins this election. But I can say that I will be a presence no matter what. I just wish to serve specifically for District 12.
I would like to thank Victor Toniolo for speaking with us, and the interview and the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. I want to remind everyone that the primary election day is Tuesday, February 21st, and the general election day is Tuesday, April 4th. As with every election, please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.